What's up, creative people? How y'all doing? Welcome to the stream. We are live right now. This video specifically for the newbies. So it's a live interactive session for people who are wanting to know a little bit more about Studio One, or you've been in Studio One for a while and you had questions about certain things, or you just here to check out what's going on. You know, what is this guy doing? What is he all about? All the above. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel as we continue to do live streams and short videos breaking down different topics and whatnot concerning beat making. What's up, Theo? What is happening? What is happening, bro? What's happening? So, if anyone have any questions, this is usually my streams are geared towards answering questions and stuff, and different things like that. But you know, this stream will be more so me going through like basic stuff. We're gonna make a beat live, but as we do that, I'll do the best I can to explain everything that's going on. So I'm gonna just we'll wait for a few seconds for people to chime in. And then we can get started after that. But if anybody watching, if you got any questions, let me know now before we get going. Thumbs up on the video, of course. Appreciate the thumbs up. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I'm not gonna wait too long because I'm also thinking about people who will chime in this video at a later time, and I want to prevent from people fast forwarding and scrolling and stuff. I mean, you're gonna do it anyway, but don't want to be a big gap. Anyway, I'm Ella from the Beat Culture, creative sound. That's what we are usually known as. We've been on the YouTube platform for quite some time, some years, and I am a Studio One expert. I like to think so. I know how to get things done. So that's kind of my standpoint, my stance. I've helped so many people. I help so many people in answering questions, beat process, mixing, mastering, that type thing. We do several kinds of videos here on the channel, and every so often I'll have sessions like these where I specifically gear these towards people who are getting started. Also, even though the video is titled, I know it's kind of hard to express that when the video is titled a certain way because people look for certain things. But even though it's Studio One, a lot of times what I teach can be universal across any program that you decide to use. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. All right. So without further ado, let's just get started. We got a few people watching. I appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up on the video and subscribe. So first things first, why Studio One, right? Studio One is it's known, it's out there, it's people know about it. But why? Why work in Studio One when you got Ableton Live, which is probably a little bit more popular than the other DAWs in terms of beat making or live performance and whatnot? Or why not Logic, right? Logic is also very, very well known. You got Pro Tools on here too. People who make beats in Pro Tools. I don't really care for that, but I digress. You got Cubase. You got FL Studio. FL Studio is probably one of the most well-known program that people tend to flock towards for several reasons. I wouldn't say it's easy use because different people have different workflows and thought process. I've met people who said it's difficult to work in FL Studio. And obviously the ones you see on YouTube feel like it's easy because they making videos and they showing other people how to use it. But FL Studio has a history behind it whereas modern kids tend to flock towards that. That's kind of like what they use. And I'll say the price point also introduce a comfortable workflow, comfortability, when you pay one price, that's it. And you get like lifetime updates and stuff like that. Other DAW platforms tend to have prices every time you update. So that's something to keep in mind. Studio One is definitely one of those things. Studio One is a little bit more unique. There is a update every time we update to like big numbers, and I'm not talking about incremental. Right now we're in Studio One 6.0, right? But there is okay, so 6.1 or 6.5 or 6.6, 6.7, whatever. When those comes out, those are free. But they got this thing called the Plus, Studio One Plus or something like that. I think that there's a subscription. It used to be called Sphere and they recently changed it. You could pay a monthly subscription to access Studio One. And that's for those who can't afford the banner outright, $500, $400, something like that, just to have access to it, So there's this, there's two ways you can get in right there. What's up, Pulse? 803's in the building. Sorry, man, if I woke you up. I will be in one of those make beats in Pro Tools as well. Yeah, definitely. You can count on 803 to have made a beat in like every DAW ever made. Probably also Audacity. I'm just saying. Pro Tools is not comfortable for beat making. I agree. I am 100% there with you on that. Trust me, I know, because I didn't try to make beats in there to just for the heck of it. It was one time I was helping a friend uh, with his beat making process, and he had questions about some stuff in Pro Tools, and his situation was unique because he bought the bundle package. He has a guitar, and he wanted to record his guitar, and I think when he was going after something to use, something to have on the system to write songs, they suggested Pro Tools because Pro Tools is the industry standard, and it's like, you know what I mean? That's what they told me when I first started in Pro Tools. But he has Pro Tools, and he realized that there is a way to make beats in there as well, add the beat machine and synth instruments and stuff like that. So when he called me, I'm like, okay, I guess I have to help him out. And in his situation, I couldn't just bounce it out and then start working in something else I prefer to use. That was his program. So I was kind of forced to learn Pro Tools for beat making. I used to mix in there. I used to use Pro Tools to mix my projects. Absolutely. I've released several records and using Pro Tools, but I gave it up. And that's when I switched to Logic at that time, and then Studio One. But making beats in Pro Tools, that was something else. But that was back then, though. That was some years ago. So I'm sure there was some improvements or whatever. But it's like in my mind, I really don't care what Pro Tools do. I just prefer not to go back to that platform to do anything. I officially left, and I haven't been back. The only time I go back in there is when I'm working on a project that someone sends me or something to that nature. And more times than not, I'm usually showing somebody how to convert their files down to stems so that I can get it to Studio One to mix. Anyway, Studio One is a platform where you could do everything in. Studio One can, be that program where you make beats, obviously mixing, mastering your projects. You can also do sound design in there because it's unique in how it bounces down stems and or saving files. It's a lot of dragging and dropping it into wherever you want it to go. It's really cool. It can easily convert to MIDI file or WAV or MP3 or whatever, right? Studio One also is pretty good at routing. Like if you use Kontakt, if you heard of Native Instruments, the Kontakt is one of those players that is kind of like the staple for instrument players. There is a bunch of third-party manufacturers that make instruments inside of Kontakt. So every time you see Kontakt, it doesn't mean that it's exclusive to Native Instrument products. You'll find other products made by other manufacturers in there as well. For instance, Arturia. I love using Arturia stuff. I can use Arturia standalone stuff, and I can also pull it up in Kontakt via the NKS protocol, right? So the cool thing about all that is that with Native Instruments, they make hardware as well. I have the MK3, which just came out. This is the video, the date of this video. And with NKS2, because we're at NKS 2.0 now, you can see third-party instruments in here and navigate and edit and do different things that you couldn't do on MK2. Now you can see third parties on MK2, but like things are a little bit better on the newer keyboard. So when you're a new beat maker, these are things you got to think about, what DAW can handle VSTs and how it handles VSTs and what are you looking for? Are you looking to connect your hardware with it and like what type of hardware are you using or not, stuff like that. So In this live stream, I hope to clarify any questions that anyone has. But I'm just going to be showing you guys like basic stuff. Studio One. It's really more so like what I like to do in here, and I'll show you guys like what keeps me coming back to Studio One. A little bit of transparency right here. Studio One is not really a creative platform. If you're looking for a platform that has creative tools, Studio One is not that. If you're looking for a platform that has a bunch of instruments, Studio One is not that. Studio One is more so for people who already have instruments, or you looking to build, third-party instruments. Like myself, I like to use a lot of the Native Instruments stuff. And yes, Native Instruments has something for everybody, every genre, every style. So you can make beats solely using Native Instruments. I got that question one time, as a matter of fact. Studio One has a couple of instruments in there. It's called Mai Tai. Mai Tai is a synth engine. There's another instrument called Presence, which is more so your acoustic instruments like your pianos, your more so live acoustic drums, bells, organs, orchestral instruments, the stuff like that. Then it's the only two. Impact is the drum machine. Basic, for a new beginner, it's basic. It gets the job done. You have the option to route and, there's another one called Sample One, which is Studio One's way of sampler, which is kind of cool. I'm kind of talking like this because, there's a dire need for some updates to happen on Persona's end. So we're waiting on some updates, because we're just really hoping that Studio One, Persona's team, Fender, pulls through and give us some more, take a look at some of the things that we already have in here, for the advanced beat making community. But Studio One is decent. You know what I mean? If you have to ask me, would I refer Studio One for a beginner beat maker? I would say yes, but usually before I say yes, I need to know exactly where you are. That's usually where it is for me. Like, it's never a straight yes or no. If you ask me what I refer Ableton Live to a beat maker, it would be the same thing, but my yes would be stronger because you can make full-on beats and it'll be fire in Ableton Live, because Ableton Live comes with stuff. They have things already like built in where you can make fire beats inside of it. You know what I mean? But there is definitely a deep learning curve, and that's why I would still need to know where you are. If you was to ask me that for FL Studio, that would probably be a strong yes. Sure, absolutely. FL Studio is probably like one of the ones that it's a hard yes. Especially if you're using samples. You pulling samples from splicing, you know how to chop it up and make it sound good, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, definitely. All day, any day. If you was asking me that for Logic, that would be a strong yes. But Logic is strictly for people who own Macs. It's not a universal program, clear from Logic. But Logic has a bunch of instruments in there and a bunch of samples, a bunch of cool things in there that just makes it pretty fun. Logic is fun. It's fun to create beats in Logic. Cubase, a strong yes. It's also a learning curve. It tends to be more catered towards music composers because of what it's capable of doing. You know, putting music to film or whatever, but not limited to it. Studio One can be all of those. You can do stuff to film because it has a media player in here. As a matter of fact, they updated it recently where it's a little bit more, it's better. So yeah, you could definitely do that in here. Also with Studio One's latest update with Dolby Atmos technology and surround sound technology, it definitely puts Studio One on the map in terms of that full on movie trailer platform for stuff like that, right? Now, earlier I said Studio One is not that creative. I mean, there is some stuff you can't do in here to be creative, and don't get me mistaken. Don't mistake me for that. You can definitely be creative and come up with some dope beats in here. And there's many records that's been produced out of Studio One, even in the beginning stages, like Studio One 2.0, right? If you ever seen the Studio One 2.1, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. So don't get me mistaken, but you know, anyway. Let me just stop, because now I'm stepping into a different territory, and my people on here that's watching know where I'm about to go, because we had these conversations a lot. But I have to quickly remind myself I'm showing you guys the new beat makers. But it goes to show you, if I felt that bad about Studio One, I would never be showing you guys. I would never be on here, or you would never see me work in Studio One ever again. You know what I mean? If I just felt like it was terrible. I feel like there are some great and awesome things inside of Studio One that keeps me in here. You know, mixing projects, no problem. Mastering stuff, no problem. Beat making, yeah, of course. You know, there's no issues there. It's just preference. But on this channel, we always show stuff in Studio One. And they're constantly making updates, so they're making it better. So yeah. So I mean, for the most part, we're safe. What's up, Pulse? What's up? Let's catch up. What are the comments saying? I agree with you. They supposed to have something in the pipeline for the creative side for Pro Tools. Not sure how soon. Hey, man. Thumbs up to you, 803. Like I say, man, whatever Pro Tools do, is for people who love Pro Tools. It's just not for me. It's like, I don't really care too much for them. It's like, regardless of what they do, that's nothing me personally, I'm not going back there. I'm good. What do you think about Bigwig mix mastering workflow versus Studio One? Bigwig is dope to me. I like Bigwig. Bigwig has a lot of features in it that reminds me of Studio One in terms of workflow, but with Ableton Live feature set and beyond. So Bigwig is like a melting pot of everything. Like, Bigwig is just dope for what it does. Bigwig can also be overwhelming. Bigwig is just like Ableton, like I said, but it has a linear workflow as well, and how you can go back and forth, and like, just the workflow is nice. In Ableton Live 12, they just recently did some things in there that crushed. Whew. Yeah, they responded. I'll say it like that. Ableton Live has responded to Bitwig. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There's some stuff you can do in Ableton Live that people were complaining about for a long time, and migrated to Bitwig because of that. Bitwig Live is now doing some of those things now. Still a lot of things in Ableton Live that is still not there yet in terms of features. that a lot of us would prefer. I'm not going to get into that because that's not what this video is about. But yeah, I mean, in terms of mixing and mastering, I would not mix and master in Bitwig. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So like when you say mix and master, you can mix and master anywhere, right? That's a given, you know. But in terms of like feature sets, when you are doing things on a certain level, there's definitely a slim selection of dolls that you will work in to do those things. Pro Tools is one of those that is really great at mixing. Studio One is right next to that. I feel like they're neck and neck. To me personally, I feel like those are the top in terms of mixing. And here's the reason why. When you are doing things like drum editing, like someone recorded live drum sets at a studio where you got several mics, a mic on the hi-hat, a mic on the snare, a mic on the bass drum, mic on tom 1, tom 2, tom 3. You got 2 overheads. You got a room mic. You may have 2 more mics on the kick, you know, to capture the sub and to capture the beater and the backside of it. You may have 2 on the snare, 1 on the top and 1 to catch the snares on the bottom. You may have a couple on the hi-hats just to kind of capture, you know, a full sound, depending on the miking technician or whoever is miking the kit. But when you're editing drums, you do know when you play the drums, there's a live person playing the drums. It's not MIDI. So when we need to make changes to nudge over to make that drummer sound like he was right on the, you know, against the metronome, Studio One has a feature in here called group. If you hit group, you know, all your tracks in there, you hit group and you touch one region and move it over, all of those tracks move at the same time. And it apply a X fade in the middle when you cut. And then on the back end, if it don't create the X fade, it's super easy. It's just a command to X fade on the back end or whatever. And I have to do that all the time when I get a mix project to lock the drummer in a little bit more to gel better with the band, the rest of the band and whatever. I don't know if Bitwig can do that. I've never really looked for it, but I don't think those are features in Bitwig for like drum editing, you know, to that extent. So stuff like that. The other one is like groups and buses. And then you got another one called, I can't remember it, but it deals with voltages. It's not a grouping, but it deals with voltage. It's just what you can do. It got scenes in here, and you can recall different scenes. This is a lot of things I'm not talking about right now, but yeah. Studio One also has, we have markers in here, but it also has arrangers, which makes it super easy to like arrange your song. When you're working in Bitwig or let's Bitwig, for instance, I find that someone has to create an empty track. I think think this is the same way, able to create an empty track and put just cut the MIDI regions or blank audio file, whatever, to create an arrangement. And then, but you click on it, but you got to do like a command to click on it and have it to highlight that entire section to move it. So you swapping, moving stuff around, this side forward and that side back, blah, 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 right? You have to do something extra to do that. in Studio One, there's an arranger blocks in here, and all you gotta do is just take that box and move it, or put something in front of it, and then it just. Also, Studio One is great for podcasting. They got this feature in here called, I think it's cursor follow edit position. Is it? No. Toggle ripple. Toggle ripple edit. It's at the top of it. When I'm editing, like say if I'm doing voiceovers for anything, video, podcast, whatever, when I move something like a breath in the middle, it just, everything behind it automatically just moves itself forward. Stuff like that. I don't know if it will have a feature like that, but Studio One has it locked on stuff like that. Plus, Studio One has a bunch of macros and not only macros, but it's like automatic steps. You can create your own automatic steps. So if you want Studio One, you set up a macro to delete. Once it deletes a region, you can have it to prompt another command on top of another command, on top of another command, on top of another command. And it does it. Boom, 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 boom. Those are macros. That is what makes Studio One, or one of the things that makes Studio One a little bit more powerful in terms of stuff like that. Key commands is one thing, but macros and the ability to build like those, yeah. I'm not sure what Big Wig answer to that is. I don't know if I ever looked for that, but that is like one of those things that is, you know, when we say mixing or just anything. But anyway, I've talked too much. Let's just dive in. You said S1 is also set up to facilitate hybrid workflows. So yeah, I mean, you know, when we talk about Pro Tools, I mean, yeah, I mean, Pro Tools does the same thing, because that's when I learned how to edit drums and stuff like that. I don't think you can do that live. Haven't seen anybody, but usually, you know, if you're looking up videos of somebody mixing, it's probably not going to be in Ableton Live. There may, I mean, there is videos mixing in Ableton Live, but it's always one of those things where somebody actually put out a video, because there's not many videos, because it's not used for that purpose. Ableton Live is more so a beat making platform, live for live purpose and like studio purpose. So it's like, you know, Pro Tools. Pro Tools is, for the most part, when you type Pro Tools, there's gonna be people in there mixing projects. There's gonna be people in there making beats, of course, but Pro Tools is not. That's not their target. You know what I'm saying? It's what it's known for. Like, when you say Pro Tools, you automatically think mix engineer, recording, pro audio gear. You know, that's just what you associate it with. You know, you. But it's not to say that it doesn't, you know, do beat making. All right, let's get to it. So we're at a blank state. Yeah. So for the sake of it, I'm gonna just throw in my tie thing. Gosh, I didn't use my tie in a long time, but so this is my tie. Studio One is a drag and drop program, which is another one of those things that I like. It's a it's a feature that no one talks about as much, but is there. It's one of those things you just appreciate when you're inside the studio. One like, oh man, you know. And when you go somewhere else and you have to go through a menu because you can't drag and drop. I think that's when you start to appreciate Studio One. Like, oh man, Studio One, man. And then we can save thumbnails in here too, just like how you see this. It's my type, the thumbnail. That is something that is really really cool. I just do it to any other third party stuff that I use a lot or remember to create a thumbnail for. There's a lot of them I don't have one because third party doesn't come in with thumbnail by default. Same for effects, same deal. It's just certain of them, you know, certain ones I can just quickly get a bird's eye view real quick. Like, oh, okay, let me just grab that. Like, I don't even need to remember what it is. It's just a thumbnail shot of it. You know what I mean? All right, so this is real basic. This is the synthesizer. This is Presonus. There is a few presets in here, and they do the best they can to fill it up, you know, with a nice amount of presets in here. But keep in mind, this is my time. That's it, you know. All right, so that's my time. So if you are a new beat maker and you're not, you know, you don't play, that's totally fine because, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can always punch in your chords. You know, you could double click here and it'll create a region. You can, you know, go back and forth. You can go to the edge of a region, and as you go, it will snap itself. You know, and that's because I have this thing, this toggle snap. If that toggle snap is not on, it turns into slip mode. I think that's a Pro Tools term. Now it's a slip mode. So it's just, you can really fine tune wherever you want this to be. I like to have snap mode on because I'm usually going against the grain or the grid here for this type of stuff anyways. But like I was explaining before, Studio One can open up these different lanes. So first of all, there's a ruler here. I love to have the ruler active because I like to see how far I am in the song. I keep track of how, you know, how big my song is. You know, I try to go for 3 minutes. You know, it just depends on what I'm doing. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever. So the ruler keeps track of where your song is. This other one is the marker lane. I use it sometimes, especially for the start and end marker. So usually the end marker is way back here or whatever, but the end marker is predicated upon what you set in the start of the song. So, I mean, or the project. So like when you go for a new song here, there's also templates here that you can follow. I usually go for the blank because, yeah, I usually go for blank. Sometimes I go for a template, or you can create your own template. Sometimes I have templates that I will start from like like a project I was working on a little bit early this year. I call it the June beat template. It was like my lo-fi stuff. It was instruments that I always were using to create a certain sound. So I had instruments that I had preset in this template. So I would use that for that purpose. But more times than not, I'm using the blank slate, just, from default. But in this section, you have the option to say how big you want your song to be, and I'm speaking lengthwise. So right here where it says length, mine is defaulted at 5 minutes, but you can set it to wherever you want, no problem. But that's not an end all be all there, because once, I usually never really pay that much attention to what that is, because I can always go in here and move. I can move this end marker to wherever. But there's also a key command for that. You know what I'm saying? There's a key command for that. So if I'm like back here at 1 and I want it to end at 40 or something like that, I would usually I'm having a brain fart right now. Oh, yeah. Out here, option and click, and it just brings my end marker forward, or right here, boom, boom. So I'm holding down my option. I think on the PC, it is the Alt button, maybe, or Command button, or Control. When I say Command button, that's because I'm on a Mac. So the command is Alt on the PC, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, that's how it is. And then my my command button is what bring my start button to wherever. Anyway, that's not really that important, but that's just showing you that it doesn't matter where your length is, because you can always bring it forward or backwards, whatever. All right, so I got this section right here. I'll make this bigger. If you want to make it bigger, smaller, there's a way to do that. Also use the key commands. You could also do it like this. I have done things this way as well. Just take the edge of it and just go up and down to make things bigger. Or you get the Z button. The Z usually zooms in and out. Student One also has this thing called follow or toggle auto zoom. So it brings everything to the forefront like that. So whatever you do, it'll always just bring the entire project. So if I'm even going beyond this 4-bar loop here, it's going to automatically bring in whatever to a bird's eye view. I like to get rid of the browser every once in a while to give me more screen real estate. You can so do that. The cool thing about Studio One is also that everything is brought to the same page. So you have your mixer here, and you got your range window up here, and you also have your macro buttons too. So if you're in the piano view, you have access to all your macros as well. So it's got the top strip with all of your editing tools, boom, right there in your face, as well as up here, your editing. So it's like, boom, boom. You never have to really wonder where everything is available to you. These tools change based upon what you're doing. And you can have several pages of macros. So for instance, there is the total of 3 pages. I think by default it's more than that. I deleted the other pages because I don't need them. It's just a clutter. But I have my own page that I created. You can also change it. You can customize these as well. You can say, look, this is more important. I kind of did that here. So for me, I have my effects that I always use, and they're just kind of like right there at my fingertip. I'm not going to show you that right now. If you want to know how to do that, then, you know, just reach out to me. I'll do another video on that. But that will take, well, it's not a long process. It's an interesting process when trying to lock that in, because it goes deep. And for a beginner, that might not be important right now. All right. So I'm going to color this. That's one thing we have here. You can also, if you are really into customizing your color, you can, you know, definitely dial in your specific color. You know, if this red is not red enough, or this pink is not pink enough for you, you can make it even more pink or purplish or whatever. You can even turn it to black. You know, the sky's the limit. It's whatever you want to do. All right, so I find that to be very helpful. Dealing with colors, it helps you find things quicker. I'm going to show you something that might be a little bit more advanced, but it might be a helpful tool for beat makers that don't know how to create chords. This might be a separate purchase. It's not that expensive. I think it's like $100. Catch it on sale, turns into $50, maybe $20. It depends on when you grab it. But this is called Scalar 2. I'm gonna just drag it in on here. Replace, no. Let's keep it. So this window right here, it when you see that, you do have the option to stack instruments. So that's the other thing. You can stack instruments on top of one instrument and make it one big deal. Sometimes I do that, but a lot of times I don't. And I have several reasons why I would do one or the other. If I'm keeping it separate, it's because I need to export them separately, or not, because you can just put it in a pack folder and it becomes one instrument anyway. Like, a pack folder usually allows you to create that one channel or that one instance. The pack folder is also associated with the term bus or auxiliary channel. So, but anyway, I just decided to choose the keep option on that window that just popped up, because there wasn't an option to just click out. When you do that, that means Scalar is still in the system. How do I know that? I can just click here and I see Scalar down here. But Scalar is not on this track yet. Actually it is. It's because I said keep, but it pushed out the ModTy. But no problem, because you could switch back to the ModTy. And the Scalar is just hanging. If I'm talking too fast for y'all, just let me know. Touch Tone is in the building. What's up, man? What's happening, sir? We just taking the newbies to school, you know. All right, so that's, it took on the name. Scalar 2 took on the name of the track, which is not a big deal. I just switched it to ModTy, so this is technically ModTy. But I'm going to duplicate this track. And the way you do that is by right-clicking. You say duplicate track, or you could say duplicate track complete. What is the difference? The difference is that when you duplicate a track, you just duplicate more lanes for that current track. When you duplicate complete track, you duplicated that track in its entirety, but it's a separate channel. All right. So what I did here was I just duplicated. So technically this is track 2 down here, but it's not. As you can see, there's a 1 right there and there's a 1 right here. You can't really see it, but those are 1s, and both of these are associated with the same track. How do I know that? It's because the mixer down here shows me. So if I'm on track 1, quote unquote, right? You see that everything is coming out of this track. And when I click on this one, everything still come out of that same track. That's because I just duplicated it. I have not duplicate complete the track. You know what I mean? Duplicate complete is what makes it a separate. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna go back here. We can actually ignore this track right here. I don't know what's going on here. Actually, we could leave that there. We can actually, yeah, we can leave that there. Let me see something. If I change this, will it change? No, actually turns into the track two. So what I did was I routed it or linked it to this track. So now track two is the scalar. I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Ooh, I like that. All right. This button I just clicked was the clip. Things are going a little bit past 0. All right, anyway. So two different tracks. So with Scalar will allow us to create some really cool chords, and we're just gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna link this first track. I'm gonna go for, seemed like it's been forever since I've been in here. I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna go for this, and I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna turn this down because it's distorting. Okay. All right, let's record that. I'm gonna tap tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's hitting T. I'm gonna click this button down here because otherwise, if you don't, it will. This is pre here, so it gives me the option to count in. Some people have it 2 bars. I like it at 1 bar. All I need is 4 counts. But you could change that here. See, mine says 1 bar. If you prefer 2 bars, you can change it to 2. It give you 2 bars. That means you get the total of 8 clicks before you come in. I only need 4. And you can also change how the metronome sounds, and you can adjust the volume, right? In my case, there's these other options right here. You can have the click and play. That means that you hear the metronome as you hit play every time. I prefer not to do that. That's just me. I like to hear what I'm doing without the click. So that's not on. I know in Ableton and Bitwig that is not a thing. There is you have to hit something that turns on the metronome, and then when you don't want to hear it no more, you have to turn the metronome off. Well, in Studio One, only you have the option to use the metronome only when you're recording and when you stop. you don't hear the metronome anymore. And that's what this option not being clicked, that's what that means. So, but you got to make sure you turn it on. And I don't know why they don't allow this by default, but you have to turn on the pre-count all the time. Or you could just turn it completely off. You could turn the metronome off and whatever. But those are my settings, and I found myself always having to click that every song. All right, so let's do that. That's probably too fast. Let's bring it down to 200. So when you're working in, okay, let's bring that back to 1. I started in the wrong place. Let's bring it back to 1. Okay, so I'm gonna loop that. So when we're looking at this, you say, what is this going on here? You can see one line like steps. Like some guy he wanted to go downstairs right there, but then he changed his mind and then he went upstairs, and then, he was like, well, let's go up another step. And he just kept walking, and then he went up another step, and then, you know what? I need to go back downstairs. Boom. Like, what is that? Those are MIDI lines. But then you got these lines in the background, like more of a fade out. Like, what the heck is that in there? Like, it just looked interesting, right? Well, those are automation lanes that was recorded during the recording, because Studio One is picking up all of the other information that we recorded. So that means how hard you press your keyboard, and or anything that your keyboard is doing that's in communication with Studio One, is picking that up. How do you see that? Well, you hit this button called A. This is the automation lane, but nothing is happening because we don't have anything open. So we're gonna just double click on this MIDI lane here, and then we can see more of a pronounced view of the MIDI. At the bottom, there's more information on what's really going on. So these are velocity levels. So this is basically how hard we hit the piano. And trust me, there are a lot of instruments that are sensitive to the velocity, which is why it's really cool that you have it hardware, because that stuff matters, especially when you program drums. You know how hard or soft something is. This information is recorded. But these other lanes are also things that recorded. So in this case, the note controllers, in this case, just, you can ignore that because we really didn't do much here. As you keep clicking, you will see, if I did pitch bend right here, it'll record right here. If I hit the modular wheel, it'll record right here. And you can go in and make edit changes to those things. And that's how that goes. If there was aftertouch happening, it will record there, right there. But in most cases, like I say, the note controller, that is just something that recorded. I hardly never hit that. I'm gonna highlight these, and I'm gonna hit Q, because it quantizes everything. But you want to be careful because if your quantized resolution is bigger than what you're trying to set to, then it will, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking about it now. That's a whole nother topic on a separate video where I will have to break down how beat resolution works. You got quarter notes. First of all, you got whole notes. Whole notes are 4 bars, right? I wish I had my pencil set up where I can just draw on the screen. I ain't think of that just until now. Anyway, just follow me. So you got whole notes, 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's your whole note. You got half notes. 1, 2. Half notes are 2 bars. 1, 2, right? Then you got quarter notes. Quarter notes are just 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hence the name quarter. Just think about it. How many quarters make $1? 4. Boom. 4 beats. So $1 represents one bar or one measure. It just depends on what you call it. But this right here, this one, that's 1 bar. So 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I forgot the tempo is faster. But in reality, you're not really counting like that. Well, it depends on how advanced you are, but a lot of times it's just based on the song. You usually get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's usually how you count. But in beat making, we tend to speed the tempo up because I don't know why. It's just always been like that. So you can do either 200 or I can go back to 100. It is really all the same thing. I think I wanted my counting to be faster. That's what it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. But I could do the same thing. I could change this to 100. But I'm gonna have to do some mad. I'm gonna have to warp this. 2, 3. So I made the BPM slower, but I'm gonna have to warp this to bring everything back. So now it should be the same concept when we start on 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Let's keep it like this, just for the sake of teaching, because now we can see right here where it says 1 and then 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and then 2. So when I'm explaining quarter notes, this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are quarter notes. Another way to break this down is by looking at the score here. And this is what quarter notes looks like. So 1. So we got 2. Well, these are the actual notes in its placement. So it's not going to be what I'm explaining, but in terms of counting, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that's quarter notes. But based on these placements, so we got the quarter note. What is this? A quarter. I forget what is that? But it takes part of the 8th note. So okay, 8th notes are half of the quarter note. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right. So the dotted note right here represents the half of the next note, if you will. Oh, I know I lost somebody. Okay. I don't know if I want to spend a lot of time on this, but basically, maybe I should just click off this because I've already lost some people. But 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna click off of it because I know I lost some people. So never mind that. All right, so Studio One has, but actually, that's the other thing. Studio One has the ability to show you the score as well. I don't think that's available in Ableton Live. It's not available in Bitwig. It might be available in Cubase and it might be available in Pro Tools. I'm not really sure. But those are the things, now that we get into the weeds of Studio One, what we dealing with. And like, you know what? I do want to get into the score and learning how that stuff goes. You can totally build your entire project just off of the score alone. You need to come in here and just do your thing. You can add, your notes in here, your sharps and flats, and then, tie this eighth note into, that's what this is doing. And it's like, it's hold the note. So one and two, and all the way to the fourth beat, and then okay, let me stop. Let me get back. All right. So let's quantize. No, we don't want to quantize that. Like I was telling y'all, we have to pay attention. So we at 16th. Okay, let me bring this back. Okay. So I could do one or two things. I can duplicate that to complete the full 8 bar, or I can just do like this. We could just work at 4 bars. Me particularly, I like to work from the markers. You will see me do that often because it's just, the workflow is just there. It's just, let me bring that back. Working from, okay, the range. That's what I was trying to get at. So here's the arranger block. I like to work from arranger because I could take this arranger and move it wherever I want, and it's gonna move the entire section. That's what I was getting at. Like when you're working in Ableton, it's a little bit different. So I can take that, move it around. I could duplicate that. You know what I'm saying? And to duplicate that is just hitting D. Do like that. I could take this, move this whole section, copy, new section over like this. If I want to come between here, boom. If I want this to go between there, boom, no problem. Blah, blah, blah. That's kind of why I like working from Arranger. Also, Arranger is also something that you can see here in the piano roll. So this is really cool because say like you just want to focus on the piano roll. Well, you can see the Arranger here, and these windows you can pop these out, which makes it totally cool. Let me put that back. Pop this one out because I could take this to a second window. You know what I mean? And if I have a separate screen, it just makes it so much easier to be able to see the arranger that's in there, and I can have access to the marker, and I can see the time signature, I can see the chord track, and I can see the variations if I have variations in here. Variations goes a little bit deeper in terms of how these virtual instruments works. You can, it's almost like automation. You can make instruments do things as long as it's automatable. That's a whole nother video right there. But that's, yeah, I'm gonna push this back in here. There's just several reasons why I like working out of Studio One. All right, so with that being said, because we work in a Scalar has this thing where we can capture the MIDI. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna drag that And what it was doing, it was listening to my MIDI. Get rid of those. And then just click erase. So with that being said, all I did was I hit the MIDI capture. It was listening to the MIDI information coming from this track, because this is cool right here, where it's one note, and these one notes are just triggering the chords inside of Scalar. But there is a lot of instances where I will rather have the MIDI information, because I could take this MIDI and do what I want, and I can use it on any instrument, and I can make changes. You see what I'm saying? So now I can get rid of this track that I use, and now I have the MIDI, and then I can really, to be honest, get rid of Scalar, and right. And that's what I want to do. So this works for people who don't know how to create chords. You can use something like that. And there's many other programs like that. So now at this point, I can say, you know, I want this to be more of a pluck. And we can get that back. Let me show y'all something. Now, this is something else I don't think that is in any other DAW that I find in terms of like MIDI editing. You see right here, usually when you select the entire MIDI, everything in the piano roll is usually like this. Now, based on how I programmed this in here, we got this first set of chords is more shorter, right? Because it's shorter, and then the next set is a little longer, and then the next set is blah blah blah. So it's just based on the placement of how I record it. Now, if I want everything to be the same exact size, instead of doing like that and then come back and just readjust this, there is something you can press that will make it lock all at the same time. And all I did was hit Command, and I think it might be Alt on a PC. So now all of my chords are the same exact size. This is one of those game changers that works for me in my workflow when editing in, you know, MIDI and stuff like that. I don't know if that's available anywhere else. If it is, forgive me. I have not discovered that in any other DAW, but I just know that that's something I like to do in here, if that's what I'm going for, right? So, right. Because otherwise, what I see people do is this. They'll take this, and they go like this. And they take that, and then they go like that. Or then they'll probably go one by one. That's just too much work. It's time consuming. You know, or they might get smart. You know what? These are the same exact size. Let me just go ahead and just grab these and just move these like that. And then I'll take these and then hold shift, right? And then readjust those. But even if you do it like that, just hit Command, boom, they're both the same size. Cool. Anyway, I'm going to just select them all and just do that. And now we got them back at the same size. Like, it don't even matter what size they are. They just the default. It just works. Let me see. Can I get them shorter? And if you wanted to slip, you hit shift along with the Command or Alt button. So now I'm slipping instead of chopping. You see, it's just chopping. Boom, 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 boom. And I can slip. Right? And then take that and duplicate that to your heart's content. Boom. But I can also take these and just say, you know, just glue them all together. Now it's one big old track. But it's all preference based. It depends on you. Say you did that, right? No problem. Say we locked them all in. But you also could come in with this cursor tool right here and just double click and split it. Boom. Boom. Now, in order to do that in Ableton, you have to hit, I think it's Command E. Well, I know that's for me. That's what I have to click. But whatever. It's just stuff like that I find. Or you can just quickly switch to a cut tool. You know, if you hit the number at the top, the number, these tools changes. Boom, 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 boom. You know, on your keyboard here. Or you can just come up here and just click for the one you want. You know, it just depends on what you feel like. So I'm gonna go back here in my tie. And I'm gonna change my release. That was the release that I now the attack is, it's like a fade in the beginning. Trying to figure out why is that a delay. Okay, these notes are obviously a little bit early. Oh, okay. So these can come up forward. This one as well. All right. I'm gonna push that back. Now, one thing that Studio One don't have is loop. Like a you can't loop at the edge here, because if you bring this forward, you see, it's only going to give you what you've done when you hit it the initial time. What I'm trying to do is like just bring that back and duplicate it, and you know, it's kind of my way of fixing that. But it opens up the hitting. All it did was hit it. There's no automatically looping that. I'll have to actually do this, like duplicate it, and then, you know, take that and consolidate it. And that, and then at this point, I've overwritten everything. And I'm doing it because I'm fixing my timing. Because I noticed that a couple of these chords were a little off. Let me see. Hit M. M. I don't. I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna lower that octave. Hit shift down arrow. Go octave down. I'm gonna unmute this here. And I'm after inversion right now. Like, it's just note placement to find out what sounds a little bit better that strikes me. And because I made that change, I'm gonna cut right here once again. And probably duplicate it again. Let's connect those two. And now I can just loop that one section. Now, the other cool thing about this is that like I enjoy working in Ableton Live and Bitwig specifically for the clip launching, because it just allows me to work a lot faster, get the thought process down a lot quicker. Now, what Studio One did was they allow that same sort of bootleg version of clip launching in the arrange block. So now I can press and then double click on any arrangement, and it takes me and jumps me to where that is. So it's kind of their answer to clip launching, so to speak. It's not really clip launch, but you know, That's the way of dealing with it. Also, you could do it from here. You know what I mean? Just double click the edge, the left edge of it. And then you got the same deal where when you double click on it, how long does it take after that initial click to launch that section? So let's pause for a second for any questions that may have popped up, because I don't want to leave anybody outside. I'm trying to do better about answering questions. Is it Akwishi? I use most but settled on S1 for me. Yeah, the workflow and the quality that left most intuitive. Absolutely. Let me highlight that right quick. That was a I feel like now they have the Atmos nailed. They will focus on upping the side. Yeah. Absolutely. Spaces in the building. What's up, bro? VCA. Thank you. Akwashi. That's exactly what I was thinking. VCA faders. That exactly. So when I made mention of how there's a channel, you can set up VCA faders because it responds to voltage versus the grouped. You can group things, but VCA faders, it's kind of like a group, but it's not. It's different. So thank you for pointing that out. The 3 says the biggest thing that about S1 stock instruments that you have to usually make adjustments to the patches, get them to sound like what you want. Yep, and add other effect plugins on them to make them sound different. Cause like even right now, what it sounds like now is like I don't know if I'm feeling that right now. So what I'm gonna do here, put a filter on it. I don't know if it's even doing anything. I'm not sure what right. I could make it sound bigger. That sounds pretty dope. But I need to put another effect on it just to it's like this one right here. There we go. That's a little better. All right. So when we adding the beat in here, just use Impact. Why not? I'm gonna throw Impact in there, and like I say, everything is drag and drop. So Impact got decent amount of stuff that it's not available to me because I didn't add everything. I didn't download everything. What is the going? Okay. I have to re-download everything, but with that being said, let me see. This is where you can use Splice and add your own samples. This will be the perfect scenario for that. But usually there's a list of stuff you can use in here. But my system, I did something, and I think I remember what I did, and I don't have all of this stuff on here, so I have to re-download that. But I'm not going to do that. We're just going to use something called Splice, and Splice is actually another service, but you don't have to have this because Studio One has the Plus deal where you can use and add stuff. Right now, I don't have everything in here, but when you have access to everything, you can just go ahead and just down stuff in. But I have a bunch of credits that I can use, so I don't mind grabbing extra stuff just to make this work. Boom, this is perfect for what I need. I think. Yep, perfect. So I'm gonna just grab stuff one by one. I'm gonna say drums. I like that. That's nice. You can do stuff like this where you can just grab a full, they do it for you. And that's a lot of times that's what these new producers are doing. They just creating beat like that. You can drag that in, and this is for anything that's on your system. You can just drag it in, and it usually warps to the track or the beat, depending on how well the sample was done. Right. You can do it like that. You know what I mean? Or you could take that track and do your own thing and drag it in the sample. You can do a series of things. You can drag it on this one track, this one pad, or you can hit shift. And I still have my click engaged. I didn't let go yet. But when I hit shift, it will spread across the track evenly, 16 slices. So now at this point, I can go back to Impact and say, you know what I'm saying? You can do that as well. Now, you can also go in and change the length of the sample, Say I want to do that. So let's do something like that. 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Let's quantize that. So it locked in 16ths, but it locked 16 straight. We need to lock at a swing. So you might not be able to hear that all the way, but there is a slight swing that we need in order for this to work. So we're going to go 16 triplet. We're not going to go 16 triplet. We're going to go 1/8 triplet. Let's see. Nope, that's not right either. Let me go back. Okay, things are not. So triplets is wrong, because triplets is not really the true swing. So I have to come in here and change this right here. Okay, so let's lock it back. But what if I make it swing like that? Right, so I turn the swing up. So that's what happened. Let me see, what are the others? All right. So let's lock those in. And because those are locked in like that, we're going to take this kick out, and because we don't want to clash. Right. So something else we could do. I'm after the shaker in here, but I don't want the kick. So now on that pad, I turn the filter on, and then change it to a high pass filter, and then just dial it back. I could probably do like that. Let's zoom in to get it tighter. So I could do like this. So that's me adding it in like through my keyboard, quantize, which really didn't quantize like I want. So I could see it. I'm looking at the grid. So yeah, I mean that's how you could chop stuff inside of Impact. So that's me changing, using the samples from this track that I brought in from sample. I'm sorry, Splice. But you can go a bit further than that. You notice how things are a little more choppy or whatever. I want something in between, so I can actually use part of this track here, the audio, to fill in those gaps. And the only way to do that at this point is to use the X trim or X term or whatever. And I'm trying to use all of the stock stuff. I have other plugins I would rather use for the situation, but this is what you will use, and you just have to play with these settings. I'm gonna bring the volume down just so we can see and hear what's going on. So I want to come in like kind of come in, and actually I can put a filter on this. So right, I could do like that. 1, 2, 3. Got coming in and out of it. One. Open, close, open, close, open. So it seems like the force is on the one mostly. So I'm gonna switch it. I think I could flip it. Wait, I thought that was, oh, here's the flip button right here. Right. And obviously there's some things that's clashing, so this is where I will go and grab a EQ to help me with that. So right. I'm probably like trim down the highs too. And then sometimes if things are not the way you want it, you can also just go in and just take out that. Once you select it, you can hit M. Because there is definitely a clash right there. Or you can hit delete. All I did was deactivate that just deactivating those regions right there. So I'm gonna click, shift click, because I want to ensure that the one is not affected. Actually, it didn't work. that again. Mute that again. Shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click. Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. And for these, I do want to pan those, bring those back actually, and then I'm gonna just not pan, but fade. So at the tip of it, you can grab, and it'll actually fade the edge of it. And that's just to avoid any clicks and pops. Also, I could take the beginning of it. I clicked out of it. Shift click, shift click. Then take the edge of that. And to be honest with you, you don't even really need the X trim if you're going to do it this way, you know, because you're kind of doing your own X trim. So say I deactivate it. You know what I mean? And these things are doing the same exact thing. Because here's another thing you could do. And remember, I was talking to you guys about the loop thing. When you loop a track, it's essentially doing the same thing over and over, boom, 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 you know. So whatever changes you make in the part that's editable, it make those changes across the board because it's just looping. Something you can do in Ableton, but in here is a little bit different. In this situation, I'm going to now that's cool. I like how they did that. So Studio One does these smart things that this is not something you do. Basically, I just duplicated it. But Studio One knows that it remembers the location and it will automatically, it did that for years. That's another thing I like about Studio One. If you was in Ableton, if you duplicate this, it will duplicate right over this here. That's my point. That's exactly what would happen. So Studio One always, it remembers where you are. Now, let me see. Because what I did was, that's not a regular duplicate. I'm trying to remember how to duplicate. Gosh, I forgot that part. It's a way to duplicate the or maybe that's only done in MIDI. There's two types of ways you could duplicate. It's like a shared, like a duplicate shared, something like that. And I'm trying to remember that. So basically, anything I do to one, it affect all of them. Is really what I'm trying to do. There's a way to do it, but I forgot how to do that. I forgot. And then there's an icon at the bottom that shows you that it was duplicated a little bit differently. Man, can I remember? I thought I did that by shift. Nope, I guess not. Hang on a second, guys. Let me try to verify. Wait a minute, separate. Gosh. I need to revisit that. Okay. Well, sync point. That's not it. Oh my gosh. I can't remember. I can't believe I forgot that. Let me see if I'll link. See. Separate shared copies. Share copies. Duplicate shared. I think I did it right. Yeah, I did it right. So it was it definitely was shift. So there's a regular duplicate and then there's a shift duplicate. I mean shared duplicate. Maybe it just depends on what I do. I know if I do this, if I use the game envelope, it definitely will act like a share. So if I do one thing to one, it'll do it. So, okay, maybe I could just do that. That tends to work. So let's see. Okay, that works. So if I take that first clap off. Okay, cool. I like it. That works. Let's just do this. Yeah, like that. So I'm gonna take Take those and bring the volume down like that. So I select all of the MIDI notes by just pressing the corresponding here, and I hit Command. In your case, if you're on the PC, it'll be Alt or Option. Oh, I forgot that was another button. I think it'd be Option or Alt. Gosh, I can't remember. I'm not a PC person. But anyway, when you highlight or select any of these notes, you can go here in the bottom section and you can adjust the notes, or you can take your hit Option and Alt at the same time, or Option Command on the Mac, and then you know what I mean, make your adjustments like that as well. Now, in my case, I don't want it to sound robotic, so I'm gonna just like that. Take that one, bring it down. So there's many cases where you go in and you make adjustments to the volume, you know what I mean? Something like that. So I could take this and get rid of that scalar track. It's still here, but you have the option to get rid of it here. Say remove unused, and whatever you're not using it, to remove it. And that saves you CPU space on your system. That can be beneficial. So the one also does this thing where it puts plugins to sleep if you're not using it. But I just like to get rid of stuff if I'm not using it. It just makes the project, more clean. So, double click here and rename it whatever I want. Take these two. These are my drums, and I don't know. Just make it a different color. And I can start to pack these. So I'm gonna take those and pack them. You can also right click and find pack folder. That's what I did. When you pack folder, there's two processes. You just made it a folder. That don't mean it's a bus folder. You see what I'm saying? Because even right here in the the mixer view, we only see this track. That's it. In order to make this pop up in the mix area, we have to come in and assign it to, and just say add a bus track. Boom, you're done. That's it. So now it's a bus track. And we can name it drums. I'm different. Please don't judge my spelling. I like it that way. And then we can add stuff from here too. We can say compressor. And this is just to give it a glue. So now I'm going to duplicate this, and we're going to work on the next section. And I'm saving it. Always remember to save. That's something I try to preach, but I do the opposite a lot of times. But yeah, always remember to save like every 10 minutes or so. Studio One also has a background save feature. So you just have to go in and save it to whatever interval that you like. So that's done in the preset, the the settings, the preference. All right, so right here is where I want to add bass, and okay, I was going to do something else. Let's see what Presence has to offer. Presence. This is what Presence looks like. So, okay, we're not using Presence because my presets are not in here. So let's X that. Let's X that and just use one of my favorites. You know, I ain't mad at that. So I'm gonna use complete. That's what I want to use. Complete. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. And I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna replace it. That's that window again, guys. What's up, Retro Vision? How's it going? Control Alt. Control Alt. Yeah. Really? Control Alt on a PC? Isn't there a isn't there an option in Alt on there? Maybe it is Control. I don't know. Y'all know better than me. Two nickels. What's happening, bro? DJ Big. I'll be sure it's in the building. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I did say complete, right? I did say that. I was trying to avoid that. Contact. That's what I wanted to use. Gosh, well, I could. Now we're going through this. Okay. Well, when you get instruments that don't work well, this is part of the issues that happens, and you got to be very, very patient. So I will say that you got to be patient. I'm going to switch screens. Anyone have any questions so far? What you guys are thinking? Do you think we're on the right track? If anyone has any questions, you can always reach out to me and I can explain a little bit better on what's going on. But, oh, wow, it's working. Okay. I'm a little hesitant of using complete control because okay. So back to it. Um, yeah, let's keep it going. So I apologize, guys. Let's go for that one. Okay, let's go for this one. So one cool thing about Studio One is it also captures it capture MIDI, you know. So if you are playing around in here and you like, man, I wasn't recording at that time, no problem. You can always go to this button right here. It allows you to put in what you just recorded, but that don't sound good. So we're gonna I only like the first one, so we're gonna take that out. So we're gonna quantize that. Doom, 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 boom. Kind of like that. So we're gonna put that in there, right? Right. So then we're gonna consolidate that to the 2 bar right there, and then duplicate it. And then combine them just so it's one deal. Okay, for the sake of the video, I'm gonna just keep it simple, because I could be forever. So when we do that, when I'm creating beats, it is very important that you make alternatives to different sections to keep the listener interested. So I'm gonna mute this first section here. So I'm already thinking about the song at this point. And I can also label this I could say verse. So let's play it from the start. You know, that sounds pretty cool. Right. It's kind of like my workflow right here. And I can even, well, I can't do that. I just have to do this. That's how I, play with the arrangers. Take one edge of another one, of the other, move it in front of that one, and it creates an overwrite. You know what I mean? It's like that. Just like that. All right, so. And then you do things like this. You add like little transitions between just to introduce. I'm gonna go to wherever percussion is or effects. Where is that? Tops. Let's see, what is this? Let's see. Could be shouts. That could be good. No. Or it could be feels. Let's see, what do we have? Shouts, snaps. Hooks. Phrases, arps, muted. Let's just do that. It could be something else there, but just something to introduce that you're about to change. You know, you go into a new section. So I also like to turn down the volume to these joints because they will be super hot. So. So like right here. Oh, I turned down something. All right. Studio One also has the ability to warp. Yup, yup, yup. So we're gonna go like this. So we're gonna just warp that. And then we could change the pitch. I have a key command for it, but this is where you would change. And in this case, I will put an effect on it. We come here. What I like to do is put a reverb on the send and feed everything that needs reverb to the send. So I'm gonna put this open air on here, and it's gonna create a separate bus, which is this here. Let's turn that. Let's make this even more pronounced. Let's change the preset here. What is going on? Dial it in, I guess. I don't know why I'm not hearing anything. Oh, sorry, guys. Ooh, that hurt my ear. Crap. Okay, let's replace it. Do something simple. I want to say that that's because of my presets are not on in my system as well. So, my content effect and reverb. That's crazy. Okay. You know, you could do something like that. I say when you're making music, you definitely want to study the style. You know, so that's going to be the other thing. I'm just showing you guys how to work in Studio One, but when we get into music production, then that's like a whole nother thing by itself. Studying the style of music so that you can be compatible, or you can sound like you belong in that genre. So I'm missing something, which would be more like a guitar And I'm kind of afraid to duplicate this here because um, Studio One has not. Oh, okay. I was just thinking about con. Okay, there's still a little bug going on here, but I think that is cool. It doesn't look correct, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Once again, gotta let's see what that does. Let me see. Change the all right. So that's cool. I like that. Go here and quantize there. Oh, come on. Sometimes Studio One does that. It depends on your system. This works different for everybody, but mine is just sometimes it gives me. So I'm doing the same thing over and over, so I'm cool with that. Right. And so if I'm doing another section, I might take the drums out. So this is the bass. So it's important that you label everything. I promise you, it just makes life a little better. All right. So this section will be the hook. Bring that back right there. So I might need a duplicate the track completely right here. This is an easy way to duplicate the same instrument if you're using the same instrument. And I'll just take everything and delete that because I'm going to do something totally different. And then go here, pull up the instrument, and then just change the instrument. That's kind of how I do things just to get by faster. And then I'll come in here and gonna go for another guitar. Maybe something like that. Let me see. know what I'm saying? Something like that. I'm not a keyboard player, but you work to get it to close close as possible. There's also a quantize. Like when you quantize, you can definitely do like 50%. I know in my case, I could say 50%. Right, and then I can add this to a reverb right here. I definitely work in sections to get it. I ain't ashamed of that. So what I did was I added a little modulation to it to bring more human realistic sounds, and it's right here. That's how that's being recorded. You can definitely come in and clean that up if you want to, but I'm cool with it, with it rendered. Sometimes I do come in here and clean this up. And the way you would do that, if that's you, I'll sometimes do this. I'll take one of these and just kind of like it overrides. Like you could take this and do like that. You know what I mean? That's how I do it, but you don't have to do that. I mean, it's like a million ways to do stuff. I'm telling you. But that's mainly how the beat making process work in Studio One, and it's clean, it's simple. And as you can see, I'm working with third party stuff. You know, it's only so far that Studio One goes in terms of its own instrumentation. Um, Partially because I don't have all of my samples and presets that comes with Studio One. I apologize for that. So I had to work from third party instruments or effects. Well, I don't think I use anything outside of what Persona's made, but you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and save this again. Let's start from the beginning. Mr. Piano, what's up? You say I be going hard, man, putting in these hours. Yeah, man, because I like helping people, man. So, that's what it is here. And then I will put a field. Do. We are definitely peaking. So what I like to do is take everything and bring it down a little slightly, just a little bit past that. I don't like peaking. So when you see something pop up here, that means you went, let me see. Okay, make sure I need. And then you can use something like a limiter at the end just to bring things to a decent level or louder instead of adjusting the master fader. That's the one thing you never want to do is just the master fader. You want to always leave that alone. But we use a limiter at the end. Even if you use other presets or other effects, we always put the limiter at the end because the limiter is what keeps the track from going beyond 0. So this is what I would do, something like this. And you can set your ceiling to however you want. It appears to still be clipping. Oh, I know why. Because at one point, I don't know how I did that. Oh, playing around on this keyboard is what probably adjusted the levels here. That's silly of me. Anyway, I could turn the gain up here, and it's like an input. Turns the input, it drives the input inside the signal, and then this thing is doing a gain reduction, as you can see the yellow. It's kind of like compressing a little bit, but and then what I sometimes do is our pan left and right, because when you do that, you give room and space to anything else that needs to live and breathe through the track, or it just kind of creates some kind of balance. So that's what I have. That's all I have for you guys. Is there any questions? So we built the track. We use mostly Studio One stock stuff. You guys know how to build. Maybe we can do another one of these sessions where we go a little bit deeper, because there's definitely some other things. There's a lot that Studio One can do, but I don't think I went through all of the basic stuff. So we can continue going, but that's all the time I have for you guys. So if y'all don't have any more questions, then we can say good day to everyone and see y'all back here tomorrow. Yeah, sounds good. Class is over. Of course, ask questions in the comment section. Feel free to hit the thumbs up. I appreciate the thumbs up, and I appreciate the subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. I thank you. I really, really thank you. The limiter and the gain, man, your stuff is so clean. Yep. So I try to give myself a headroom, and that might be adjusting all of the tracks at once. I don't like hitting the clip. I don't like clipping the master a lot. So I'll give myself headroom, enough below where it will clip. And then I will use the gain on the limiter to drive in to the limiter or into that compressor or whatever. And that's just, you kind of coloring the track at that point. When you drive, you gain into it. So the limiter is always going to be like this. The limiter is your ceiling, And so when you drive into it, you make the track, or creating a perception that the track is louder than it is. It sounds louder, but it's not going past that clip. It's not going past that ceiling. And so it makes this audible on systems, your car systems, the jukebox, the DJ that plays your tracks, on Spotify, Apple, just different systems, stereo systems, radio raw broadcasts, there's different standards or whatever. And so there's things that you have to do. I mean, for beat making, that's not important. I don't want to go above people's head. I'm just talking to one of my subscribers that's probably a little bit more advanced. But it could be a good information for new beginners as well. But yeah, that's some of the process. I always put a limiter, even if you don't do anything else. Just put a limiter just to avoid it from clipping the track. And then if you want a little bit more value, you could just add a little more gain to it, and that allows the tracks. You know what sounds good, because you can distort the tracks. You don't want it to sound distorted, so make the gain be the that force to give it a little bit more beef in the mix, and then bounce it down, send it to somebody or whoever. That's that's it, guys. All right, so lifestyle governed by art. I like this track. I think I like to finish this joint. Touch Tone. Touch Tone was here, y'all. All right, y'all.